I'll show you 3 different ways of creating fog in Unreal Engine. All the steps from start to finish. So firstly, we're going to create a flat dynamic fog using a noise texture. So firstly, we're going to control space, go to our content browser, go to content and create a new folder called 001 fog_df. And then in that folder, we're going to create a new material called df fog 001 and double click to open the material. With our material output selected, we're going to change the blend mode to additive. And then we're going to add a texture sample, and then right click, convert to parameter, name it noise texture. And with our noise texture node selected, we're going to search for Perlin noise, this one, and then go right click, texture coordinate, right click again and add a panner. So we're going to plug this into the coordinate and the output to the UV. For time, right click, time node, and then hold M, left click for a multiply. So holding S and left click for a parameter, call this speed, and then we'll plug that into time, and then we need an append node, hold S and left click for a parameter, call it speed X, hold S, left click again, and name it speed Y. Then plug that into the append, and that into the speed. Now, after the noise texture, we need another multiply node, M and left click, hold V for vector, and left click, name this color, and double click here and make it white. Go to K, RGB to the multiply, here, hold M and left click for another multiply, and we're going to hold S and left click for a parameter. We're going to name this emissive. Plug it in like so. After that, we're going to add a camera depth fade. Hold S and left click for a parameter. Name this camera depth fade amount. And we need another multiply node here. Then plug that in there. And the result to multiply to multiply, and then that to emissive color. So for the panner speed, set the default at 1 and speed X 0.01, speed Y 0.01 as well. And camera depth fade amount, we'll set that to about 200. And we need emissive at 1. And that's it. And for the opacity, so we'll add another texture coordinate. Go right click and add component mask and press here down arrow. With our component mask selected, we're going to only use the red channel, so untick the green, right click and search for 1- and down arrow as well. Plug it in there, and a multiply node, and plug it in like so, and down arrow as well. Then we're going to do the same for the green channel, so right click and add a component mask and add a 1 minus and add a multiply. So with this component mask, we're going to only use the green channel, so untick the red. So connect that there, there, there. Then add another multiply node and add the 2 in here. And we're going to right click and add a depth fade node. Actually, before that, we're going to add another multiply node and add a parameter node and call this edge feather and set that to about 0.8. Connect it up. Opacity and another parameter node, and let's call this depth fade and set this to about 50. Then plug that into opacity. Hit apply and save. And back in our scene, we're going to make a new plane. Back in our content browser, going to right click on the material we just created and create a material instance. And with this instance, drag it onto our plane. You can see the fog is now working. Actually, we'll just rename it quickly. Let's go df fog 001. Then place that into a folder. And with our plane selected, go to the material instance. And enable all the parameters. Let's try changing the values. So I want it moving from left to right. So I'm gonna go -0.001. And then maybe upward slightly. Yep, that's about it. And so the emissive controls, I guess, how bright it is. And the edge feathers out the edges. And the depth fade controls how it sort of blends with the environment. And the camera depth fade is relative to your camera distance. So maybe we'll do another one, maybe around here. Add a new plane. And with our material selected, we'll add another material instance so we can adjust it separately. And apply that to the plane. And we'll name this plane F402. Place that in there. And same with this one. You can go to your material instance, enable all the parameters, and change it around. So you can make variations to this. So for example, so I can copy this material, duplicate, and then in this new material, I can change the noise texture. So I've got some noise textures I've just downloaded from Google. So cloud noise texture. So with this noise texture node selected, cloud noise, and hit apply and save. Just maybe copy this one. So with our df fog 002 material, we'll create a new material instance and apply that to this plane here. So we'll go in here into the material. You can see how they are different because of the texture. So the next one is volumetric dynamic fog. So for this, there's a prerequisite. In your scene, you need to have a exponential height fog. So also in the exponential height fog, when you scroll down to volumetric fog, you need to have volumetric fog enabled. So if you have that, this will work. So we'll go to content browser, make a new folder called 002 for volume dynamic. So in our new folder, we're going to right click and create a new material, and we'll call this 3D fog 001, and then double click. With our material output selected, we're going to change the material domain to volume and blend mode to additive and leave at default lit. We're going to add a vector, hold V and left click and name this fog color and change this to white and plug that into the albedo. And on the left here, we're going to right click and add a world position. So we're going to right click and search for component mask, hold M and left click for multiply, right click and add a panel, and also going to add a texture sample and convert that to parameter. So right click and convert to parameter and name this mask. I'm going to plug this here, plug this in here, coordinate to the UV. So we're going to hold D and left click for divide. And we're going to add a constant, hold 1 in left click and change the value to 100. Plug it into the B, hold the S in left click for a parameter, call this mask size, and change the value to 0.15 and plug that into A. And then for the speed, we need a append node. Right click, search for append vector, and hold S parameter and speed X, hold S and left click, speed Y. Maybe we'll set this to about 0.1, 0.1. Then plug it in like so. So from here, we're going to go right click, search for 3-point level. Make sure you just get the red channel to the texture, not RGB. And then we're going to add a new vector, which is hold V, left click, and then call this mask control. So with your mask control parameter selected, go to the channel names. We'll name red, low, green, medium, and blue, high. And we'll change the values, default value, low to 0, medium to 0.5, and high to 1. And we'll plug the low to new black value, medium to middle value, and high to white value. And we'll add a multiply node here, M and left click. And then over here, we're going to search for another world position, and then right click, search for transform position. So with your transform position selected, it's really important you change the source to absolute world space and destination to local space. If you don't do this, it's not going to work. So we're going to right click and add a subtract node, and then hold D and left click for a divide node. And we're going to right click and search for object local bounds. So plug the local bounds minimum to subtract node, and local bound size to divide node. So, and then right click, search for distance, and scroll down to utility distance, and then hold M and left click for multiply, and then right click and search for 1 minus. Then there, there, and then we're going to add a constant 1. So hold 1 and left click, and hold 1 and left click again. So we'll make this one 0.5 and plug that in there, and make that one, so change that to 2 and plug that in there. So 1 minus 2b, and we're going to search for a switch, static switch parameter, and we'll name this moving fog, and plug the 1 minus to false and the multiply to true. Hold M, left click for multiply, and add another parameter node. Hold S and left click and name this opacity, and change that to 1, and plug this into extinction. Hit apply and save. Also change this to true. Oh, so I forgot to put in a texture here. With your mask selected, search for Perlin noise. This one. Save. So back in our scene, I'm going to add a cube. And going to right click on our new volume fog material and create a material instance, and drag the material instance onto the cube. So we'll name the cube 3D fog 001, then 3D. With your cube selected, go to the material instance. So enable all the parameters, and let's try adjusting this. You can also add multiple of these. So we'll copy this cube, place it over there, maybe make it bigger, make a new instance of this material, apply that to this one, so we adjust it separately as well. So enable everything. And now for the final one, fog using video sequences. So we'll go to our content folder again. So we'll go right click, new folder, 003, fog, video. So we'll go right click and go to media and image media source. And we'll name this video fog 01, and then double click and sequence path. So I already have a collection of fog that I downloaded from Premium Beats for free, and I have converted some of them to JPEG sequences. You can use H.264 as well, but JPEG sequences are easier. So you can convert it using media encoder or any other video encoding software. With your JPEG sequence, you just need to select the first one and open, and hit save and close. And we'll go right click again in the same folder, go to media and media player, and make sure check video output media texture exit as well, and go OK. And we'll name this video fog MP01. And then double click on the media player You can see we have image media source, and double click. You can see it's playing. Hit save and close. So we'll make a new plane. And with our media texture that's been created, drag that onto the plane. And you can see it's black and nothing's happening. But there's a new material created. Double click and go into the material. And with your material output selected, change that to translucent. Actually additive. We'll add a new multiply node. Hold M and left click. And add another one. Hold S. Left click for a parameter node. We'll name this RGB intensity. And hold V. Left click for a vector node. Name this color. And make this white. And RGB intensity at 1. Plug it in like so. Plug that into emissive color. Hold M and left click for a multiply, and then hold S and left click for a parameter. We'll call this alpha amount and change the default to 1. Plug the read channel into multiply here. Then we'll add a multiply node here. Plug that in here. And just to make things easier, we're going to go back to our first fog and into the material. So df fog 001. And we're going to copy the bottom bit. So select all these nodes, right click and copy. So we're going to go back into our video fog MP01 video mat, and we'll paste Control V, and then plug this deflate into here, and then that to opacity. Okay, let's hit save. So we'll name this plane video fog 01, and it's a folder called video fog. Okay, so you can see that the fog isn't working yet. So in order for us to make it work, we need to place it into sequencer. Click here and add a new level sequence. And I'm just gonna make one here and call it tutorial. And in sequencer, going to go add new track and media track. So click here to add the new media source. Just gonna make mine start a little bit later. So on this track, we need to right click, go to edit selection, and add the media texture. Choose the one that's been created for this particular sequence and click away. Now your fog should be working even though it's not visible yet. So with your plane selected, video fog 01, we'll go to our material. Oh, actually, no. So we're going to right click on our material, create material instance. So we don't want to edit the material. So my fog ended up on that side for some reason. So we just need to rotate it. You scroll through the timeline and the sequence. You can see how the fog is going to work. You can also change the color. So with this video fog material, we can also make different variations of this because we have other videos of fog as well. So in the fog video folder, so maybe just we saw these. into a folder. Move here, and then we'll copy this and paste here, and we need to rename it. Video fog number 2, video fog MP number 2. So changing all the 1s to 2. Go to the new image media source, double click. So we need to change the sequence path. So choose any other fog that you want. So just maybe do this one, wispy, ground wispy, and save. Make sure to save. So you need to relink everything to the new image media source. So double click on the media player and double click on the new image media source, video fog number 2, and hit save, close, and go to the media texture as well. So you need to change the media player to video fog MP02 and hit save also. And you need to go to the material and go to texture and change that to MP02 texture. Hit save as well. And finally, the instance, you need to change the parent to video fog MP02. Hit save. So we'll copy this plane. We'll add this new video fog number 2 material instance to this new plane. And you can see that it's beautifully not working. So we'll go back to our tutorial sequence. And from here, we'll add a new image media track. And then right click here, edit selection and media texture to MP02 as well. Then click away, and that is also working now. So we have video fog number 1 and video fog number 2. Maybe we'll add it around the stone, the rune stone. And this one, we can also adjust the parameters. But that's it. Hope that tutorial was useful for you. If you liked the video, please leave a like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you for watching.